Hi, my name's Lena, and I never thought a single Instagram like could change my life. It all started on a quiet Tuesday night. I was scrolling through my feed, half asleep, when a video caught my attention. A guy laughing at something absurd, and somehow, I found myself laughing too, repeating his jokes out loud in my room. The weird part? I didn't even know he lived in my city. The next morning, craving my usual hazelnut latte, I walked into my favorite coffee shop. And there he was, sitting at a corner table with a laptop, a green smoothie beside him, looking exactly like he did in the video. My heart jumped, and my hands started sweating. I wanted to leave, but curiosity held me in place. I gathered my courage and made a small comment about the weather. He looked up, smiled, and just like that, every rehearsed line in my head evaporated. Instead, we talked effortlessly, memes about relationships, viral TikTok challenges, favorite shows, even embarrassing childhood stories. At one point, he accidentally brushed my hand and it was electric, like my body had been waiting for that tiny touch. By the time I got home, my mind was racing. Was this coincidence or something more? Maybe life occasionally scripts moments that feel like viral content, moments that are meant just for you. Chapter takeaway. Sometimes one small interaction, one fleeting smile, can change the way you see the world. The next day, I couldn't stop thinking about him. Every time my phone buzzed, I hoped it was a message from him, though I had no idea if he even remembered my name. I told myself it was ridiculous. How could one random encounter matter so much? Yet the memory of his laugh, his easy smile, and the way he leaned forward when he talked kept replaying in my mind like a favorite song on loop. I decided to go back to the coffee shop, half to see him again, half because I needed to feel that spark one more time. And of course, there he was. This time he noticed me immediately and waved. My cheeks flushed, and I forced a casual smile as I approached him. We ended up sharing a table, laughing at the chaos of people scrolling past, bumping into tables, and spilling drinks. He asked me about my favorite TikTok trends, and I realized I actually liked this part of modern dating, the randomness, the connection over silly, viral moments, the way laughter could break the ice faster than any serious conversation ever could. Time flew by, and I was surprised how natural it felt to open up about my weird hobbies, my small fears, and the little moments that made me happy. At one point, he looked at me in a way that made my stomach twist, not with fear, but with anticipation. I caught myself imagining what it would be like if this meeting wasn't just random, if maybe life had more planned for us than I realized. Chapter takeaway. Sometimes life's randomness leads to moments that feel carefully designed for you, and one encounter can make you question everything you thought you knew about love. That evening, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying every detail from the coffee shop. His laugh, the way his eyes lit up when he talked about his favorite shows, even the faint scent of his cologne lingering in the air. I felt like a teenager again, caught somewhere between excitement and fear, unsure if I was falling for someone I barely knew. The next day, we decided to meet at the park. The city felt different somehow, like the world had grown warmer and brighter just because he was there. We walked along the paths, sharing stories about our childhoods, dreams, and embarrassing moments that made us laugh until our sides hurt. Each story revealed something about him, and I found myself wanting to know everything, the quiet, serious sides, the silly, impulsive sides, everything. At one point, he stopped near a fountain and looked at me. "I feel like we've known each other forever," he said, his voice soft but full of certainty. I wanted to believe him, and a small smile slipped onto my face. There was a strange kind of comfort in his presence, a feeling that everything was exactly as it was supposed to be. We shared a quiet moment, watching the sunset paint the city in shades of pink and gold. The world seemed to pause around us, leaving only the two of us suspended in that perfect bubble. I realized that connection, real, thrilling, unpredictable, was something I'd been craving without even knowing it. Chapter takeaway. Some encounters leave marks on your heart before you even realize it, reminding you that the most meaningful connections often happen when you least expect them. A few days later, we met at a small rooftop cafe he'd discovered, a hidden gem with fairy lights strung above and soft music playing in the background. The city below buzzed with life, but up here, it felt like we had our own little universe. I noticed how he paid attention to the small details, How he laughed at my jokes even when they weren't funny. How he remembered little things I'd mentioned days ago. We shared stories about relationships gone wrong, the awkwardness of dating apps, and the strange ways people tried to impress each other online. Yet none of it felt superficial. Our laughter and confessions were honest, raw, and comforting. I realized how rare it was to meet someone who could make you feel simultaneously safe and excited at the same time. At some point, he reached across the table and gently held my hand. My breath caught. "I feel like meeting you wasn't random," he whispered. I looked down at our intertwined fingers and felt a warmth spreading through my chest, a mix of hope, anticipation, and fear of the unknown. The sun dipped below the horizon, and the sky turned shades of purple and orange. I knew in that moment that whatever this was, it mattered. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real, because it made me feel alive in ways I hadn't felt in a long time. Chapter takeaway. Sometimes the smallest gestures, like holding a hand, can carry the weight of unspoken feelings and change the way you see someone forever. A week later, we found ourselves walking along the river at night, the city lights reflecting in the water like scattered stars. Everything felt calm, yet charged with a quiet tension, the kind that comes before something important is about to happen. I realized how much I had grown attached to him in such a short time, how every laugh, every glance, every tiny moment had left a mark on me. We stopped on a small bridge, leaning against the railing, watching the gentle ripple of the water below. He looked at me, eyes serious but soft. "Lena, I don't know where this is going, but I know I want to explore it with you," he said. My heart swelled. It wasn't a grand declaration, but it was real, honest, vulnerable, and exactly what I needed to hear. I smiled, feeling a mix of relief and excitement. "I want that too," I admitted, letting the words slip out like they had been waiting for the right moment. The city around us faded into background noise. There was only us, two people who had stumbled into each other's lives and somehow found something extraordinary. As we stood there, hand in hand, I realized that this was what I had been waiting for. Not perfection, not a fairy tale, but a connection that made life feel fuller, brighter, and infinitely more thrilling. Sometimes the best stories aren't the ones you watch online, they're the ones you live yourself. Chapter takeaway. True connections often arrive when you least expect them, and the most meaningful relationships grow from small, honest moments rather than grand gestures.